Hey Sparkle Squad, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Jasmine and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to do a single Salchow in figure skating. If you guys haven't seen my video on the first figure skating jump, also known as a Welch jump, I will leave that down below in the description box. So if you don't have a Welch jump, I'll recommend to go watch that before you watch this video. But without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so the reason that I recommend having a Welch jump before you start learning the rest of the figure skating jumps is because a Welch jump is the base of mainly almost every single figure skating jump, especially for Salchow. So before starting to learn your Salchow, I would recommend making sure that you have a nice and solid and stable Welch jump that you're comfortable with. Okay guys, so before we get started with actually learning how to do a Salchow, I'm going to break down the 3 different ways that you can get into a Salchow. So there's 3 main entrances that almost everyone will do, and you can test all of them and see which one works best for you, and then that way it'll be a lot easier to learn your Salchow, but I recommend testing all of them. The very first one that we have is a 3-turn into your Salchow, then we have a mohawk into your Salchow, and we also have a back 3 mohawk into your Salchow. So now I'm going to demonstrate all of them so that you guys can see what they look like. Alright guys, so the takeoff that I recommend the most for beginners who are learning a Salchow is to learn it from a mohawk. And the reason this is because 3 turns make your Salchows really swingy, but for some people it does help. And also back 3 mohawks are more advanced. So once you learn how to do your Salchow either from a 3-turn or a mohawk, then you can start to learn it from a back 3 mohawk. The reason I recommend a mohawk is when we start here, we're going to push. And when we already do our mohawk, it's going to help us check and stop that rotation before we go into the jump. And this is going to help us not swing it around, and it's going to save us from a lot of falls. And when I do a 3-turn, if you watch, a lot of people, when I watch them do 3 turns on their Salchow, I see like a very common mistake where they go like this and they swing it around and then they try to jump, and that's not going to work because you have to really make sure that you're checking your body a lot when you're doing a 3-turn. So if you can do the 3-turn correctly and really check and before you jump, then it's also a great alternative if you don't want to do the mohawk version. But if you can't check or pause before you jump, then I definitely recommend the mohawk because that makes it a lot easier. Alright guys, so the thing that I wanted to mention before you get started with learning Salchow, although there are many different ways that you can learn Salchow, 3-turn mohawk and back 3 mohawk, when you are learning it and doing all of these steps, make sure that you only choose the same takeoff throughout every single step that I'm telling you guys, because you don't want to be mixing it together and doing like 3-turn for one step and then the mohawk for the other step, because it's going to make it very difficult for you to learn how to do one nice Salchow. And then after you're able to land your Salchow, then we're going to work on doing it with all of the other entries. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be using a mohawk to demonstrate all of these exercises for Salchow, but you can also replicate these and do them with 3 turns or back 3 mohawks if those are the entries that you want to try. Alright guys, so a Salchow is basically almost similar to a Welch jump. So the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to find us a nice line, and I'm going to do it on this one right here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I have a line. And what we're going to do is we're going to start from standstill because it's the easiest to learn new jumps from standstill. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing our entry into it. So I'm going to do my mohawk. I'm going to go mohawk, and I want to make sure that my arms are always open. Whenever we're doing a Salchow, I've seen that it's really, really common that people they either swing their arms around in a circle, or even if they're doing it on a mohawk, then they go like this, and that's not going to help. You want to make sure that your arms are nice and checked. So I'm going to kind of sort of face this way. My arms are open, almost like they're hugging to a circle, and I'm going to be doing this to my right. So I'm going to do my mohawk, and I'm going to keep my arms open while I am rotating my body. So I'm going to do that again so that you guys can see it. I'm not moving my arms at all. The only things that are moving are my legs. So I'm going to go mohawk, and I'm going to stay nice and open. All right? So that is what we want to make sure that we're doing, and that's also going to help us check. And you want to, after you do your mohawk, you want to be able to kind of feel like a pause right here, and you want to be able to hold this back, like back straight edge almost, for as long as you can. So after we have that step down, what we're going to be doing is we're going to do our mohawk here, and we're going to bring our just foot around, almost like we're going into a sit spin, but we're not going to move our arms at all. And we're just going to work on this motion until we get comfortable with doing it, because this is going to be the basic like takeoff for our Salchow. So we're going to go here, and we're going to kind of go into a sit spin position like that. All right, so now that we have that position nice and comfortable, what we're going to be doing is we're going to add half of a jump to this. So we're going to go and we're going to do our takeoff. We're going to be gliding backwards, whatever takeoff you're doing, right before you jump. Bring your foot in front, and then off of the standing leg that you're standing on, we're going to go. We're going to be right here, and we're going to rotate our arms and jump. So if you guys could tell, I kind of checked my arms while I was in the air. So I'm going to go here. We're going to go mohawk. And you want to gently bring your arms through, like over, and you're going to jump, and you're going to check your arms again. So you want to be landing facing forward. And we're just going to work on this position, or like this exercise, until we get nice and comfortable with it. And we want to be able to do this pretty easily. All right guys, so now we're gonna kind of sort of break it down a little bit, and we're going to try and do a full rotation off of it. But instead of doing your entry edge, what we're gonna be doing is we're actually gonna get a couple of crossovers. We're going to be gliding backwards on that same foot, almost in that same check position, bring our foot in front of us, and we're gonna do one rotation, and we're gonna land on both feet. So on this one, we're not gonna open our arms back up when we land, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep them nice and in on our landing. So we're going to be going backwards like this. We're going to bring our foot in front, jump, and we're going to land backwards on 2 feet with our arms in our rotating position. And we're going to work on that, and then we're going to slowly start to add back in that mohawk. So once we have that, we're going to take a couple of pushes. We're going to do our mohawk or whatever entry we're going to do. So we're going to go here, and we're in that same check position, bring it through, and jump and land on 2 feet, gliding backwards with our arms in that rotating position. All right guys, so now what we're going to be doing is we're just going to add a landing position to that. So we're actually going to still be landing on 2 feet, and what we're going to do is after we land on 2 feet, we're just going to push out into a nice landing position. So we're going to go here, we're going to get a couple of pushes. We're going to go into our takeoff, do our takeoff. We're going to jump, land, and push out. So you kind of want to make it flow, but if you can't do that yet, then what we're going to do is we're going to actually stay paused on 2 feet before pushing out. So we're going to go entry, jump, pause, and then push out into our landing position if that makes it easier for you. So what we're going to do is, even if that's how you're going to start off, what we're doing is we're going to work on that until we're able to almost land on 1 foot, but we're still landing on 2 feet, but we're going to be pushing pretty quickly onto that 1 foot. So basically, this second foot that is touching the ice is only going to touch the ice for like half a second. So when we're going to do that, we're going to go push, entry, jump, land, and out. Just like that. All right guys, so basically that's how you do a Salchow, and now all we need to work on is trying to land on 1 foot. So don't worry if you can't get it first try, because it's obviously a new jump and it's going to take a couple of tries before you can land it perfectly, but we want to work on it, and we're going to try and not put our second foot down on the ice at all when we come out of the air. So what we're going to do is we're going to push, do our takeoff, jump, and we're going to land on 1 foot. We want to try really, really hard not to put that second foot down on the ice. and we want to like really focus on just staying on that one foot. So now what we're going to be doing with our arms is we're going to go here, we're going to do our takeoff, nice and open, bring them in for the jump and out for the landing. And then that is basically how we do a Salchow. Alright guys, so now that we know how to do a basic Salchow from standstill, what we're going to be doing is we're going to start cleaning it up a little bit and making everything flow together much more. So when we go into it, we're going to remove all of those pauses that we had before. So it's going to be one nice motion. The only pause we're not going to get rid of is the pause that we have gliding backwards, but we are going to shorten it a little bit. That pause is really important because that's going to help make sure that we're not swinging our jump. So we're going to go here, and in a nice motion, we're going to do our entry, pause, jump, and land. So again, the only pause that we're not removing is the one right before we jump where we're gliding backwards. We're just going to shorten it a little bit so that it's not as long as what it was before. So once you are able to do that, this is what it should look like. Alright guys, so now that we have our nice single Salchow, what we're going to be doing is we're going to work on getting some more speed going into it, and this is going to help with our flow, also our jump height. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to get a couple of crossovers, nice pushes, we're going to step and go into our Salchow. I recommend starting with like very minimal speed and then slowly and gradually work up to getting more speed into it, because you don't want to fly out of control if you just start adding a bunch of pushes into it. So we're just going to slowly start to add our speed, and in the end what we're going to do is our Salchow should look like this once we have a lot of speed. Alright guys, so now that we have our Salchow with nice speed, what we're going to do is we're actually going to try and experiment with all of the other entries that we have. So we want to make sure that we experiment with 3-turn, obviously Mohawk, and also back 3 Mohawk. Because if you are able to learn how to do Salchow for multiple different entries, then it's going to help a lot when you get to doing doubles and triples in the future, because this is going to make it a lot easier for you to adapt to the different needs for each of the jumps. So I definitely recommend learning it from every single one of them, especially when you're first learning figure skating, because it's going to make your life a lot easier, and it'll also help you figure out which one you like the best. Alright guys, so this is the end of the video. I hope that you guys enjoyed and that it helped you guys get your single Salchow in figure skating. If you guys have any other requests of tutorials that I should do for you guys, leave those down below in the comments and I would be happy to do those for you guys. But I hope that you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in my next video. Love you guys. Bye!